What's going on, family? I hope you are well. I hope you are well. Can you see me and hear me? Let me see, chat. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. All right, good. Join us on Zoom at www.juliangordon.com/TFC. For those of you who are joining on Instagram, what's going on? Good to see you. Welcome to Financial Church. We about to get it in, yo. So go to join us on Zoom. I'm posting and pinning that. Join us on Zoom at juliangordon.com/TFC. Heart this, like this, share this, wherever you are. It's good to see those of you who are over here in Zoom with us. I got a treat-in for y'all today. I can't wait. This divine download has been sitting with me, and we were going to cover it on Independence Day, but of course, or somebody else's Independence Day. But of course, that fell on the first Sunday of the month, and we did our monthly accounting on that day. So I get to bring it to you today, which is July 12th. I celebrated my birthday yesterday. Another year around the sun. So grateful for life right now. This year has been absolutely amazing. Just a lot of manifestation and unfoldment. I am 100% tapped in alignment, and things are flowing so easily. And this is what I hope to share with you so that you can also be in alignment and manifest at the highest level possible on the face of this earth. So good to see you. You all know that you are family to me. Anybody who's about their father's business, father, mother, God, as we define it here, is my brother, my sister, and my mother. All right. So let's get it in. I'm about to share my screen. For those of you who are joining us on Instagram, hit the like, hit the share, comment. Let me know where you're coming from today. If this is your first time, for those of you who are first timers, type in new. For those of you who are veterans, type vet. For those of you who are first timers, type new. For those of you who are veterans, type vet. All right, a lot of vets here, a lot of vets. Got some new folks. Good to see you all. And Instagram, if you are joining us for the first time, type new. And if you are a vet, you've been here before, go ahead and type vet. For those of you who are on Instagram, you're going to want to come over to Zoom and go to juliangordon.com/TFC. I teach from slides. I have a PowerPoint presentation over here that you will not be able to see on Instagram. So you want to come over and join us here. And for those of you who are on Instagram, I'm about to share my screen with you right now. And let me pull that up. I'm excited about this one, y'all. All right, I'm about to pull it up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, good. All right. Please confirm that you can see my screen. I know one day I was teaching, going in, thinking y'all could see it. You couldn't. But okay, we're good to go. Technology gods are in alignment today. So I'm glad to hear that. Beautiful. So let's get it in, y'all, because yeah, we're going in today. All right. So welcome to the Financial Church. Today is July 12th, 2020. We are here every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today's subject that we are drawing from is how to use your image in nation. Your image in nation. What do I mean by imagination? A lot of people use the word imagination, but we are talking about the image inside of yourself. So what we're going to be covering is how to articulate, right? Because you are an artist, you are a creator, how to articulate your vision so that you don't perish. Because as you know, as scripture says, people without a vision shall perish, all right? So just a quick definition of financial spirituality, because that is what the basis of this particular teaching is. Financial spirituality is the practice of mastering manifestation and money by learning how God creates and using the power of your mind, words, thoughts, feelings, imagination, prayers, and works to bring heaven, which is the mind, the immaterial, the unseen, the intangible, on earth, which is the material, the seen, the tangible, so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. We are to bring heaven on earth. Okay, that is really what our work is here in this particular realm. And we have to all recognize that we are all already manifesting, always, at every single moment. Okay, you think you're not manifesting, you manifested the life that you're in right here and right now. Okay, the question is, are you deliberately creating and manifesting? And have you created the experience that you actually desire? That is the only question. We are all creating in every single moment with all of our thoughts, all of our words, okay? All of our imaginations that we have. We are always co-creating with the creator, okay? So here we believe that the Bible is the richest book ever. I have a very biblical approach, but you do not have to be Christian. For those of you who are new, you do not have to be Christian to benefit from this. I extract the universal laws and the universal principles that transcend religion from this particular book because it resonates with me the most, and I share that. So this is not a faith-based space. We put I'll stick with I, because everybody has their own religion, whether they know it or not. A religion is just an accumulation of your own belief systems. You can be sitting in the pew next to somebody on a Sunday, and you can say you're all this or all that, but each person sitting next to you in the same pew has a different religion, because we all have a different relationship to God. So here I value relationship over religion, and every religion should support that relationship with your creator. If it doesn't, then some of it has to go. Okay. So I also believe that Jesus is the richest man I don't even want to put a gender on it, the richest being to ever walk the face of the earth. Jesus was male and female. Guess what? Everybody here is male and female. In fact, when we are conceived, we start off as female. All right. Now, we may manifest as a man, or we may manifest as a woman. We are in a time where people are changing genders. Okay. So we all have divine feminine and divine masculine in us. We'll talk about it later on today, how women were written out of religion, were written out of the Bible, and how that actually cuts us off from manifesting at the highest level possible. Okay. So some of my core belief statements, again, these are my belief statements. You do not have to adopt them. These are how I think. This whole teaching is not trying to convert you. In fact, I want you to question and challenge everything that I teach you. Go test it out for yourself. What I know is that these beliefs and this way that I think about manifestation and money has worked for me. And that's all I'm doing here on Sundays, is sharing what has worked for me. Okay. So I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm not trying to persuade you. I already know it's true for me. All right. And so all I'm trying to do is share what has been true for me with you, and give you permission, or I don't even have to give you permission. As Jada Pinkett Smith says, all right. I ain't got to give you no permission. Based on it working for me, I challenge you to go test it out, experiment for yourself to see if it works for you. That's all. Okay. So some of my belief statements are, I believe that as a child of God, I have access to everything that is in God's will for me to have, and I will receive it when I am ready. I seek first the kingdom of God, knowing that all the things that I need will be added unto me. I am about my mother, father's business, and when I am, I will have life and have it more abundantly. I believe that I'm here to manifest the divine ideas planted in the heaven of my mind on earth, which is my material experience. And I believe that there is more than enough. I have more than enough, and that I am more than enough, for God is the infinite source of my supply. So see, these are some of my core beliefs as I teach you from this place, right? Now, in Genesis 2:7, it reads, then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils and breathed life, and the man became a living being. All right. And so what we have to always remember and recognize is that we are being breathed through. We actually don't control our breathing, with the exception of you trying to hold your breath underwater. You can't stop your breathing unless you commit suicide. Okay. And so we are actually vehicles and vessels that are being breathed through by something else. And so the way to connect and reconnect with that something else is to just tap back into our breath. So here we start off this space with 3 deep breaths in. We do 4 seconds in, hold for 1 second, and 5 seconds of relief. What we call this is in heaven, exhale. We don't inhale, right? We're not trying to be in hell. You trying to be in hell? I'm not trying to be in hell. I'm in heaven, and then we exhale. In heaven, and then we exhale, okay? And so let's do that and to create space and reconnect with our creator, your creator, however you define it. I don't care what you call it. All I want you to do is plug in. Just like you plug in your cell phone to keep it charged up, this is a way that we can always plug in. It's just by connecting with our breath, right? So 4 seconds in, hold for 1 second, and then 5 seconds of release, right? In heaven, exhale. In heaven, exhale. In heaven, exhale. I don't care how busy your day is, what you got on your to-do list, you can always plug in. You can always take 30 seconds to plug in and reconnect with your source. In fact, every time you plug in your cell phone, you should just take a moment to plug in with God, okay? So let's get right into today's teaching, all right? Again, we are exploring how to use your imagination, your imagination, what a lot of people call it. I really emphasize the word image because we know that we were all created in the image of God, okay? And so how do we know that this works? Well, let's just start off with, how many of y'all on the corporate plantation right now? How many of y'all got to go to the corporate plantation tomorrow? How many of y'all got to go to the corporate plantation tomorrow? Okay. Now, how many times a week, or no, let's just do a day. How many times a day do you wish you were not on the corporate plantation and your mind takes you somewhere else in a daydream? Just type it in. How many times in a given 8-hour day do you end up in the Bahamas? Are you traveling through South Africa? Are you on Mars? How many times does your mind leave your body and go somewhere else? No passport required, no mask required, no flights required. You just daydream and you go somewhere else. Stacy said 70%, Nicole said 10 times, right? So right there alone, we know that even if we are having a material, physical experience on earth, our imagination can take us somewhere else. Just like that. No cost required, right? No cost required, no flights required, no luggage or baggage required. We can just go somewhere else just like that. And some of y'all are doing it 5 to 10 times a day. Now, ultimately, we don't want to be doing that 5 to 10 times a day because it takes us out of the present moment. And the only moment that really exists. If I say, what time is it? What will always be the right answer, y'all? If I say, what time is it? What will always be the right answer? Tiffany and Ty got it. The answer will always be now. What time is it? Somebody asks you what the time, you ain't got to watch it, say now. And if I ask you, where are you? Where will the right answer always be? Where will the right answer always be? Here. The right answer will always be here. So guess what, y'all? Time is a man-made thing. We couldn't grasp eternity in our mind, so we decided to break it up with this thing that we call time. God does not operate on time. God isn't running to Zoom meetings and appointments on any time schedule, okay? And if we are direct descendants, actually, we aren't descendants of God. I don't even like the word descendant. You know, I'm very particular with my language. I don't like the word descendant. We are actually ascendants. I don't want my family tree to be descendants because that would mean that they're going down. I want my family tree to ascend. When you're actually drawing out your family tree, where do? You do it from the roots up. They branch out, okay? So as children of God, we must create like God, and actually we don't have to create in this linear form of time. Now, is time a factor in this physical realm? Yes, time is a factor. Gravity, drops at 9.8 meters per second squared or something like that? So there are some physical laws that we have to operate by, and we do operate by time here. But going back to our point, you will always be here and you will always be now. We are actually on a continuum of here and now, here and now, here and now. That's it. You can say it's 2 o'clock, you could say it's 5 o'clock, you could say it's 12 noon, whatever. You're still here and now. All right. And so what we're trying to do is get present and realize that everything that's happening in life is actually happening in this moment right here and right now. They think that the Big Bang was some moment in the past. No, the Big Bang is a Big Bang. If that's what you believe is the source of creation, if there was this one instantaneous moment inspired by God where God decided to create in this way, it's still unfolding right now. Like Genesis being the creation story, guess what? Creation ain't stopped, y'all. Creation hasn't stopped. I'm creating, you creating, we creating. Creation is not stopped. So how do you end the creation story? You can't. All right. And so this is the power of the imagination. You see this guy right here? What do y'all think he's thinking? What do y'all think he's thinking in his head? I got one for y'all. This thing is, I wish I would. Not today. Not today. I dare you. I dare you to try to blame me for something you did, right? You can see it in his eye. He looking up at his boss. He's like, I wish you would. Looking like Will Smith a little bit, right? When Jada wasn't fully honest. Entanglements. We were in an entanglement. You know, everybody got to use that word today. Everybody, you got to find a way to use that word today, okay? It'll bring joy to your life, trust me, all right? But look at the power of imagination, y'all. Look at the power of imagination. This guy from work, from some corporate plantation, could be imagining himself at Carnival in Jamaica or in Trinidad. Just like that, instantaneously. So we know the power of our imagination. We just want to use it not to escape our current reality, but to create our new reality. We know the power of our imagination. Most of us use it to escape our present reality in the here and now. Instead, we want to use the imagination to create our new reality, okay? Not to escape, but to create. We just need to flip it on its head, okay? And so that's what we're gonna focus on here today. So Romans 12:2, Paul said, don't conform to the pattern of this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the reason that this is important because the mind is where the imagination unfolds from, okay? It's the soil, the fertile soil of the mind that the imagination emerges from. And so this is how we transform is through the imagination, the image in nation, okay? And then we know that Proverbs 23:7 says, for as a man or woman thinketh in his heart, right? And for those of you who are vets, please let everybody who's new know what the heart means. Whenever you see heart in the Bible, right? What is it typically referring to? It is referring to the subconscious mind. It is referring to the subconscious mind, the heart mind, okay? So for as a man thinketh in his subconscious, the heart mind, okay? So is he, so is she, right? And as a man or woman imagineth, so he or she becomes. Your thinking is actually informing who you are right now, but your imagination, as you imagine, so you become. That is, your imagination is more future-based, and it is actually informed what you emerge into, right? So this is our new one. As a man or woman imagineth, so he or she becomes. Because even though you may be experiencing poverty, corporate plantation, a bad relationship, even though you may be experiencing that right now, your imagination can create an entire new reality or destination for you, destiny for you. And as you continue to give that new destination or destiny attention, then guess what intends to unfold? You tend to attract and step into the frequency and vibration of that, and that becomes more and more of your experience, the more energy you give to it. Is this making sense, y'all? Is this making sense? Okay. So the reason I wanted to do this last week is because last week a lot of people celebrated July 4th, Independence Day. Okay. And I want to give a shout out to the founding fathers of this nation, because what did they do, y'all? They imagined a nation. We are talking about image a nation. And what did they do? They imagined a nation. Do I agree with the nation that they imagined? No. But they use the same divine powers that are within all of us. In fact, many of them got their teachings as Masons, many of them being Masons. Where did that teaching come from, y'all? Where did that teaching come from? If many of them were Masons, came from Kemet. They called it Egypt. It was not named Egypt. It was Kemet. Okay. So they are tapping in. They tapped in. No, they didn't. They tapped in to teachings that come from our people. All right. So the founding fathers, being John Adams, Ben Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and George Washington, created this nation. They imagined a nation. And guess what? That same power is within each and every one of you who is here right now. Each one of you. Okay? This nation is young. What is it? 200 what? 36, I don't know, 230 something or 40 something years old. This nation is young, y'all. So if you tap in and you start imagining right now, and we start doing that collectively, then guess what? 200 years from now, or even faster, because we know that God doesn't operate on time. If we start imagining something together, we can have it over time. We can have it right now in our minds, but then it can manifest itself over time. We just haven't come together. They came together, and we're actually going to look at some of the principles that they applied to create this nation and create a quote unquote Independence Day. Okay. So what did they do right? Even if what they created was unrighteous, what did they do right? Let's explore that, because America, there's something divine here. There's something divine here. And I think it's still emerging, though we see the pain that is in this country right now. This is an amazing creation that came from the imagination of a few men. So let's look at what they did right. I am going to get into what they did wrong, y'all. Okay? But let's look at what they did right. First, again, I want to remind us that we are not learning from our oppressor. The oppressor learned from us. They learned from the Kemetic principles that came out of what is known as Egypt and the teachings that were in Africa. Okay? Now, what I need you all to understand is that universal law works for everyone, whether it's the founding fathers, whether it's Hitler, whether it's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad create? What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad create, y'all? The what of Islam? The what of Islam? The nation. Y'all got to be seeing this. Created that nation of Islam from his imagination. Okay? So universal laws, they work regardless of the intention. I believe that they are more powerful when the intention is good and it's aligned with God, but universal law work. Does gravity ask you whether you murdered somebody to say if it's going to work or not? Does gravity say, oh, you a murderer, I'm not going to work for you today? No. Gravity does not judge. It's a law that applies to anyone, and anyone can use it or leverage it to the degree that they desire. Does a tree look at somebody and say, oh, you've been shady all your life, I'm not going to give you shade? No. The tree accepts all as they are, because shade, if a barrier is in between the light, it is law that shade has to occur. Right? So these universal laws, what we've done as good stewards on this earth, as people who we believe have good hearts, we've let other people outcreate us. We've let other people with lower vibration intentions outcreate us. That's our fault, y'all. I'm not doing this to shame us, but they've tapped into universal laws and used them to create a world that we don't agree with, more so than we've used the same exact laws that were available to us to create a world that we actually desire. That's on us. That's not on them. That is on all of us. Okay? So, what did they do right? They created a vision. They created a vision for an entire nation, right? They created a vision for an entire nation. And that vision was so big that it could form a nation, right? Like Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he had a vision for the nation of Islam. Many people, right? When they create their vision boards, who's their vision board about? Who's their vision board about? Themselves, one person, maybe their family. This is why vision boards are so selfish. They're only about the person and what they want and what they can get. They aren't about creating a nation. They're using their imagination for just themselves. It's self-serving. Now, I do believe it's important to know what you want, but what if you actually imagine an entire nation? What if your nation's only 10 people? What if your nation was 1,000 people? What if you imagined for 10,000 people or 100,000? It's the same exact work. It's the same exact work imagining for 100,000 people as it is for imagining for yourself. So why do we limit our imagination to just self? Okay? The other thing that they did is that they gathered and agreed. They gathered and they agreed. And out of that came, what is the Articles of Confederation? Is a what? The Articles of Confederation is an agreement among the 13 colonies that served as their first constitution. What did they do right? They also made it plain on paper. Out of that, you have these age-old documents of the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, and the U.S. Constitution. They wrote it down. The other thing that they did right is that the vision involved land in the same way that God creates. What land did God create? What land did God create? The whole Genesis 1 is about what? The formation of the earth. The condition that its greatest creation would thrive inside of. So oftentimes, and we've covered this, that God in Genesis creates the conditions for success for its greatest creation. God didn't create man and woman first and then add the conditions. No, as gods, lowercase g's, we are meant to create the conditions first, right? And then we step into that. And if the conditions are right, as gardeners, if the conditions that we create are right, then good fruit will be born. All right? Now, what else did they do right? They gathered and edited the vision consistently through the First and Second Continental Congress. Some of us created vision boards and now they in a closet somewhere. We don't come back to it. We don't edit it. We glued things on there, and so now we can't pull them off, right? We didn't edit the vision. We didn't consistently come back to the vision to update it, to evolve it based on who we were becoming, based on things that we learned about ourselves. Okay? Then, watch this. This is crazy, y'all. About 35 of the 56 delegates were lawyers. What do lawyers deal with, y'all? What do lawyers deal with? They deal with law. What are we dealing with here in the financial church? We are dealing with universal law. They understood worldly law and they tapped into universal law. Because what? As above, so below. They also, hear me on this, they also brought together a diverse group, excluding gender and race. This group of men that came together, they were actually diverse with the exception of gender and race. When you look at the economic classes, you look at the careers of them, you look at where they came from, you look at a religious background, they were actually a diverse group of men. They just weren't diverse in terms of gender and ethnicity. So they brought together, as they're trying to imagine a nation, they brought together different viewpoints. This is why, because the founding fathers were men, this is why women were left out. This is why people of color were left out, because they didn't bring these people to the table. Okay? To constitute literally means to be a part of a whole. Now, they thought that they were the whole, but they left it out. And so when you leave that out, but you still have these other parties that are involved and share the same space with you, but you left them out of the visioning process, then guess what? Those parties will come at you over and over and over again, and there will be no way to avoid it until everybody has a seat at the table. This is what we're dealing with. These founding fathers and their descendants thought that they could just get away with creating something that excluded women and people of color and never have any repercussions for it. You can't do that. You can't do that. So now women have to fight for their right to vote. People of color got to fight for their right to vote. Okay? This is what has occurred. And then finally, this is the part that I respect about them, y'all. They were ready to die for their vision and what they believed through the American Revolution. Some of y'all got visions on your vision boards. You ain't willing to die for it. You don't believe in it enough to die for it. They were willing to go to war, to die for their vision. How many of y'all are willing to die for what it is that you say you want? So while I do not agree with the fact that many of them were slave owners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that there's hypocrites who literally wrote these poetic documents. All men are created equal, but then 3/5 human being. All men are created equal, but yet I have slaves, right? While I do not agree, these are the things that I respect about what these men came together to do in 1776. I believe that's the year. Okay? So we can learn from that, because they imagined a nation, and guess what? It's our turn to imagine a new one using our imagination. That's what we're here for, y'all. And now we don't have to wait to have a seat at the table. We're building our own tables. Okay? This is not about white male supremacy. It's not about the white man. This is about us stepping into our power. See, we talk about white privilege a lot, y'all. You know what we don't talk about? We talk about white privilege all the time. You know what we don't talk about? Thank you, Teresa. How come we don't talk about black privilege? You were so focused on white privilege that you forgot that we have tons of privileges as black people. We closest to the father and mother. We the firstborn. We the eldest. We the true Israelites. We the most creative. The whole world follows our lead. We resourceful. We're beautiful. We smart. We know how to make something out of nothing. We know how to manifest at high levels. You're so focused on talking about other people's privilege that you forgot your own privileges as black people on the earth. You melanated. Sun won't burn you. You ain't got no recessive genes when it comes to your ethnicity. You got to remember who you are. I don't focus on what they got. I'm happy for what they got. Everybody is born with their own unique strengths. That's like you being born, your sister being born with basketball skills, but you not being athletic, and you just being mad at God because your sister is a baller, but you not. I'm glad she's a baller. What are you balling at? Are you good with numbers? Are you good with people? Are you good at art? Focus on your privilege. Stop focusing on other people's privilege. You do not need their privilege to go down for you to have privilege and step into your power. White privilege is predicated on other people's power going down for them to stay in power. Let them operate that way, because as soon as I stand up, as soon as all of us stand up, there will be no white privilege. There will be no white privilege at that point. White supremacy can only come from a feeling of what? White inferiority. The root, the seed thought of white supremacy is actually white inferiority. I feel inferior. Now I have this Napoleon complex. So now I need to do something the exact opposite to make me feel superior. As a collective, they feel inferior. As a collective, I'm not talking about every specific individual, but they know that they're made up of recessive genes. And as long as brown people on the face of this earth continue to procreate, then over time, they will become a minority. And so they create things like coronavirus to take out as many brown people as possible. This is the level that they're creating on. But their creation process is out of alignment with God. As by and large, all white people don't fit into that category, but their creation process is out of alignment. Because every creation that is in alignment honors all creation. Any creation that is in alignment with God honors all creation. If you are going through a creative process and it actually causes you to affect other human beings or negatively affect nature, then you are out of alignment. Because God itself would not do that. Right? So, again, I want to look at how they created this nation. They imagined a nation. So we want to learn from that. Okay? We want to learn from that because there's power there that we can tap back into because it was ours originally. Again, these were a lot of Freemasons and all of that teaching came from our people. How is it that they more connected with our teaching than we are? Here's how. They came, got the information because we were willing to share it in the same way that I'm openly sharing all this knowledge about financial spirituality with you. Then they went back to Europe, claimed it as their own, even though they learned it. They forgot to put the bibliography at the end. And you think about the word bibliography, right? What is the first word? The beginning, the root word of bibliography is Bible. So they forgot to reference the source of where the information came from. Not forgot, they intentionally declared it as theirs. Then they come back and burn our libraries. We were so committed to oral tradition that we didn't make tons of copies. We didn't write things down to that degree. So we might have had a few copies here and there, burned down the libraries, and then claimed it. This is the book Stolen Legacy. Go read it yourself. There's even inventions that are here in the United States that were clearly created by Black people that other people have taken and stolen. Okay? So this is part of their nature, all right? So how is this supported by the text? Text says, Matthew 18:20, for where there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, there I am with them. Wherever there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, there I am with them. When they came together at the First Continental Conference, the Second Continental Conference, they came together and they gathered. They were embodying this particular scripture right here. Okay? We got to come together in order to create. Then in Proverbs 29:18, it says, where there is no vision, the people will perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Okay? So hear this, y'all. The law is your word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was made flesh. The law is your word. So when you keep your word, which is what we call integrity, guess what? Where will happiness come from? It will come from you keeping your word, being integral, having integrity. When there is alignment between your word and your action and your vision, you will be happy. When there is not alignment, you will experience cognitive dissonance. You say you want this, but you were doing this. You can never be happy when what you say you want and what you're doing are not aligned. So again, the law, right, is your word. And when you keep your word is bond, right? You are operating integrity to yourself and what you say you want for your life. You will be happy. Even if all the manifestations haven't occurred yet, as long as you feel aligned within yourself between your word and your action and your thought, word, and action, then you will feel happy then and there. Even if the manifestations, the earthly or worldly material manifestation haven't occurred yet, when you feel alignment within yourself, that is where you will find happiness. Okay? So, what else did the founding fathers tap into? Habakkuk 2:2. Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. These simple documents, simple and complex, they are so simple that they're complex. These two primary documents, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they wrote it down, they made it plain, and then generations after generations after generations have run with it. Yeah, we make amendments to certain things, the Bill of Rights, etc. We make amendments, but these core documents, they made it plain and they made it simple so that others could run with it. Okay? So, again, we're learning from them. Okay? Genesis 1:9-10. It says, and God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And so it was. And God called the dry land earth, and gathering together the waters called the seas, and God saw that it was good. All right? So land is essential. Land is essential to this unfoldment. You realize, y'all, and I've said this before, and you wonder why I'm in real estate. Land is the greatest gift from God after giving us life. Land is the greatest gift from God after giving us life. So the Louisiana Purchase, they bought the Louisiana Purchase for $15 million. It's like, I think it was like that's like the equivalent of $300 million today. Imagine if you could buy the Louisiana Purchase. It wasn't just Louisiana. It was like the whole middle of the United States for $300 million. I would raise that money so quick. I'd raise that money by tomorrow. Okay? So they recognized that land was key to this vision, right? And Matthew 6:25 says, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Why is this important? Because many of us say we want something, we're not willing to risk our life for it. We're so busy saving a life that we don't even like that we won't even risk our life for it. Okay? We are so committed. Like, the way I think about money, some people are playing financial defense right now. Some people are playing financial defense right now. Financial defense is basically when you're trying to save your way to wealth. You playing defense and you ain't got nothing to defend. You ain't putting no points on the board. What you defending? With whatever little you got, we got to go 100% on offense. You defending a $5,000 savings? That ain't going to get us anywhere. We have to take that $5,000 and risk it all. What did Nipsey Hussle say? All money in. 100% faith. That's the only way I'm going to multiply this $5,000. Me trying to defend this $5,000 when I'm playing against millionaires and billionaires, I ain't going to be able to win that battle. Some of y'all playing defense too early. Once you've actually accumulated something, then we can start playing defense. We can talk about trust and whole life, maximum cash value, insurance policies. We can talk about all that stuff once we got something to defend. But if you ain't got nothing to defend, then we got to be 100% offense. This is the power of having nothing to lose. Okay? When some people who are deemed as wealthy, they have wealth or what they perceive as wealth, and they are afraid of losing it, and they spend their life in fear. But when you ain't got nothing to lose, the only option you got is to go for it all. Literally, if we as people of color in this country had got interest-free home loans through the FHA program, which actually excluded us intentionally in the past through redlining, if we just got 0% interest loans on mortgages, 0% down, we would catch up in probably 20 years. The wealth gap would close in 20 years. If we had no taxes for 400 years, Wealth gap, we close that joint just like that. Okay? So we got to be willing to die. But Julian, if I die, then I want to actually get to experience heaven on earth. You living a life where you are committed to something that you're willing to die for is heaven on earth. You living a life willing to die for something that is important to you, that is heaven on earth. Y'all with me? So going back to this land piece really quickly, Mark 2:21 says, you can't pour new wine in old wineskins or else they will burst. This is why land was so important to the founding fathers' process, is because they could not revolt in this way in Europe. They knew they needed new space. They needed new land in order to execute on this. If they tried to do this, because remember, why did many of them come over to this place? It wasn't called the United States at the time. Why did many of them come over to North America? Please tell me in chat. Why did they come over here? Why did they come over here, y'all? Because they were persecuted themselves in Europe. They were persecuted themselves in Europe. Their mom, Brittany, was persecuting them. And even when they ran away from home, to North America, Brittany, their mom, was still persecuting them. And they said, look, Brittany, Mom, I don't want to be part of you anymore. And Brittany's like, you can't ever deny me. I'm coming to get you in my red coat. When I'm outside, step up in my red coat. You gonna see me. I'm gonna be in a red coat. When I pull up, come outside. And he's like, all right, we're gonna have to do that. I'm willing to die for this. I'm no longer a part of you. Now, we also know that hurt people hurt people. So while they thought they were getting free, what did they end up doing? They ended up doing the exact same thing that their mom, Brittany, did to them, to the native people here. They started doing the exact same thing that their mom, Brittany, did to them, to those folks that were here and those of us who they brought from other places. Okay? Are y'all understanding this? Okay. So, what were the problems with their process? One, we already know that anytime you are creating and it is actually destroying any other of God's creations, whether that's people or Mother Earth, actually, I don't even like the term Mother Earth, because then that makes God the Father and Mother the Earth. Earth is small in the context of all the creation. So it's actually Mother, Father, God for me. We can call it's a nice analogy to call it Mother Earth, but the mother aspect of this whole creation process isn't just this little dot called Earth. Okay? So back to the main point, anytime you create, right, in a way that actually diminishes another form of creation from God, that is not in alignment. It can't be. You're going against God to gain personally, right? So what did they do incorrectly? They left out the divine feminine, just like the divine feminine gets left out of the Bible. Who's the culprit in the whole Bible? Who is this whole situation that we're in based on? Who does everybody ping it on? Who does everybody point the finger at? Eve. Come on, get the out of here. Get the out of here. Some men got divinely inspired, named Moses, to write this book, and they're going to write it in such a way where it just happens to be the woman who is responsible for all of this. Get out of here, y'all. The divine feminine has been written out. That's why this whole country has been based on masculine domination of other people in other places, because the divine feminine was left out. Okay? The next thing that they did incorrectly was they excluded the Native Americans who were already here. The Native Americans, because, and us too, as indigenous people, as the firstborn, we didn't have this perception of property and ownership. So when these folks from Europe came, we were like, yeah, we got plenty of land. You could go use some of that over there, because we didn't actually have the idea of ownership. That came from Europe. The idea of ownership and property in that way came from Europe. We didn't perceive it as such. When we were born, when Adam and Eve were born, those Africans were born, Earth was just here. So if it was here, then it is not mine. It is here for me to use, but it is not mine. It was already here when I got here. Then it can't be mine if it was already here when I got here. So these Europeans came. We, as indigenous people of the earth, welcome them with open arms. They have this ideology of ownership and property in their head. And they say, oh, you're just going to let us use this? Well, we're going to fence this off right here. Matter of fact, we actually want your plot of land too. So we're going to take that. And you're going to have to move. You're going to get displaced. That is colonization. And what we call gentrification today is actually colonization. Same thing is occurring. Gentrification is a good thing. Gentrification is actually the upliftment of a community. An all-Black neighborhood can gentrify itself by painting all the fronts of the houses and planting flowers out front. That neighborhood could gentrify itself. That's good. Everybody's property value increases. What has actually been occurring is colonization. The same thing that happened with this country happens in our neighborhoods now. Okay? So when you look at European architecture, they have castles. You look at Game of Thrones, there's the wall, right? There's this fear of keeping somebody, some external enemy out. When you look at our architecture in indigenous architecture, we didn't build like that. You won't see castles with moats and huge walls and things of that nature trying to keep people out, because we didn't perceive property and ownership in that way. Okay? So this is part of the issue. The other problem with their process is that they contradicted themselves in the actual documents themselves. What do they say? All men are created equal, but then African Americans or Africans in America are 3/5 of human beings. There's contradictions, there's incongruence. And a lot of what we're experiencing here is literally based on this language that was embedded in the consciousness of this country from the start. It was baked in. And then on top of that, they created out of anger and fear instead of alignment and faith. They created this country out of anger and fear against their mother, Brittany, instead of creating out of alignment with God and faith in God. This is where they went astray. Okay? So, Genesis 1:26-27 said, and God said, let us make man in our image. So this is the one mind, the God mind, using image, right? Using image or imagination to create. All of Genesis 1 is a recounting of God's imagination unfolding and creating this experience that we're having here on earth. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. This is about God's imagination. That's what Genesis 1 is all about, y'all. And so as children of God, we are seeking to create like our mother, father. So this is where we go to learn, all right? Matthew 5:38-40 says, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. Right? So we aren't resisting, because what you actually resist persists. Instead of resisting, what we have to do is tap into our own imagination and create. Jesus wasn't saying be meek, let somebody kill you. That's not what was happening here. The core of this was about resistance and pushing back on somebody else's way of being. I've shared this with you all before. If we're at a gas station, okay, and we're stranded, all we have is $10, and one car is going west, and the other car pulls in the station is going east, and we want to go east. How much money do we put in the gas tank of the car that is going west? Zero. To be honest, I don't even have time to talk to the person who is going west. I don't want to know their name. I don't even care what they're doing. I don't care where they're from. I don't care about any of that. I'm trying to go east, and therefore I dedicate all of my energy, my financial energy, and any other form of capital or energy I have towards going east. But this is why the 60s didn't work. And I'm not saying anything, I'm not doing this to downplay our leaders from that period. This was about resisting what somebody else, instead of simply just creating what we desired to create. If we would have taken all of the energy of all these marches, all the flights and the bus rides and all of that, we would have put that same energy into simply just creating what we wanted, there would be a black town next to Chinatown, next to Koreatown, next to Little Italy. There'd be little Africas, just as there's Koreatown, Chinatown, Little Italy, little this, if we decided just to create instead of pushing against. When's the last time you seen Asian people who were also not enslaved in the same way that we were? When's the last time you seen them marching for anything? When's the last time you seen Asian people marching for anything? I can't think of anything. They said, we're not going to push against. We know that in a democracy, you have the numbers. That's going to be pretty hard to win. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go over here. We're going to find our little nook and we're going to create what we want to create. We're not putting any energy, economic, physical, anything towards pushing against you. Instead, we just going to come in here and we're going to create over here on the low. Okay? So we've been approaching the manifestation of the life in the community, in the world that we desire here in the United States in the wrong way, I believe, okay? And this is why I'm in Baton Rouge. This is why I am buying as much property in a 200-acre block area. I'm not pushing against. I didn't go to any marches, y'all. Now, is there a time and place for that? Yeah, there's a time and place for that. I'm not trying to change anybody else's mind. I'm not trying to change a white supremacist mind. I ain't got time for that. I'm not trying to educate a liberal white folk who think they're woke. I ain't got time for that. I'm going to spend all of my energy creating the reality that I want. Does this make sense, y'all? This is about energy management. The greatest energy management is our life management. This is about energy management, and we're literally just throwing our energy away by trying to push against or change other people. I don't want to list the demands. Who am I demanding it from? Why would I demand something from somebody else that I can provide for myself? Oh yeah, but I pay taxes into that system, etc. If they're just they're gonna be who they are. This has been embedded in their nature for a long period of time. You think that some sort of law that you pass, you get the president to sign something that their behavior is going to change? No. You'd be better off channeling all your energy, starting with your imagination, towards creating the reality that you want. I'm not trying to change somebody's nature. I'm not trying to convince or persuade anybody that is not in alignment with what I want to create. I'm not trying to persuade them anything. You do you. I'm going to go do me. Now, when you start to encroach on me doing me, like what happened in Tulsa, then we got problems. We got problems at that point. But beyond that, I'm gonna go do me. I'm not trying to convince you. You want to hate black people, then you hate black people. Good for you. I don't have energy. I don't have time for you. I don't have time to stand up to you. I don't have time to march against you. I don't have time to sit down and talk with you. I ain't got time. I'm over here creating. Y'all with me on this? All right. So your independence. Remember, July 4th was not your Independence Day. And I'm glad none of y'all could go to any kind of barbecues. I'm glad. Because we out here celebrating other people's independence. Whose independence we celebrating? You still got to go back to the corporate plantation on Monday. You ain't free. Oh, we free. Sound like a house Negro. We free. Back in Africa, they doing this. They walk around naked. This, get out of here. Africa ain't ish. But yet you got Asians and and Arabs and white folks still in there trying to take all this country that you've been taught ain't ish. Why would they come there if it ain't ish? Why did they enslave you if you ain't ish? Because you were the ish. Because Africa is the ish. More natural resources than any other plot of land on the face of this earth. It's backwards, y'all. America's got great branding. America's got great branding. But we got to see the truth. All right? So, a lot of y'all want to have your Independence Day. I had mine January 9th, 2009. That's when I quit my job and stepped into my purpose full time at the bottom of the last economic recession. Literally, you can go look it up on the charts, little point at the bottom, last recession. That's when I quit my job because I was being pulled by my purpose. Okay? But here's how you get to your independence, y'all. Your day does not depend on somebody else's independence. Your day depends on what is happening in you. This is why it's called Independence Day. It only depends on what's happening inside you. Not what somebody, not what some country did, not what some other nation did, not what somebody else did for their family and their last name. Your dependence only matters based on what is happening inside of you, right? Now, what we've been taught, y'all, is that I'll be happy, I'll be free when these certain things happen, right? Many of us got put on this program. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby with the baby carriage. That's all programming. That's the American dream. Go to high school, graduate from high school, go get an undergraduate degree, then get a graduate degree, then get a nice little car, then get you a job, then find love, then get married, then pop out a baby, then get a starter home, then pop out another baby, then upgrade to a Honda Odyssey minivan, and then get another home, right? This is this linear process that many of us been programmed on, and we got caught up. Many people are far along in this process and realizing that they're not free. So this idea and this language pattern of I'll be happy when indicates what, y'all? I'll be happy when indicates what about your happiness now? That I'm not happy right now. And the only time and place that there is in eternity forever is where? We discussed this earlier, here and now. But we bought into the methodology or the language that I'll be happy when this happens. Happiness is based on when something happens. Joy is based on what's within. I don't focus on happiness. I focus on joy. I can be joyful regardless of my external circumstances. Now, if some good things happen, right, then yeah, I'll be happy. That's great. But if some bad things happen, it does not change my joy. This is why I love the hashtag Black Boy Joy. Okay? So, look at the emojis. All the emojis we use tell us, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I graduate. I'll be happy when I find love. I'll be happy when I get a job. I'll be happy when I have money. I'll be happy when. It's always out there in the future. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is in your midst. It's neither here nor there. It is in your midst right now. So if you have these ideas that you'll be happy when something occurs, then you actually never be happy. Because even when you get to that when, to that point, you'll realize that it was empty, that it was false. And then you'll start seeking something else unless you renew your mindset about what happiness is. This is how you get caught up in the rat race. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much active income you have. I don't care about your education and your degrees. That's why you never hear me mention mine here, because they don't matter. They're irrelevant. You will constantly be chasing. Why? Because you're chasing happiness based on, if happiness happens based on what happens, if happiness is based on what happens, it's external. And when something is external, you can never ever grasp it. When something is outside of you, you can never fully grasp it. So the rat race isn't just about trying to get more money, because the only reason people want more money is what? Because they believe that that money is going to allow them to get something that will make them happy. So until you realize that that is not the truth, that happiness and joy, that joy is actually within you, that it's not about happiness. Happiness fluctuates up and down like the heartbeat, but joy is what's permanent and can be permanent because it's sourced from within. You can be at peace with yourself. Some of y'all have traveled to countries that have lower GDP, right? Lower incomes. You see people there that are poor, but you see the smile on their face, and the smile on their face daily is wider than your smile on your face while you're on vacation. The smile on their face daily is wider than the smile on your face while you're escaping on vacation. Why? Because they have joy. They have joy. Okay? So we got to get to the truth of the matter so that we stop chasing the wrong things. So happiness is not based on what happens. What we believe and what we've been taught, okay, is that when this happens, when this motion occurs, then I will have this emotion of happiness. This is the exact wrong way to think about it. This is backwards. When this happens, when I get married, when I get this job, when I graduate, etc., I'll be happy then. Backwards, y'all. Okay? Here is what we need to do. We need to get full of the feeling first. We need to get full of the feeling first. This is what fulfillment is, y'all. Is when you are full of the feeling first. You get full of the emotion that you want first, and then guess what? What happens? What does the universe do? And then good things happen frequently that match your frequency. I'm going to repeat that. You get full of the feeling or the emotion first. Now you're vibrating at a certain frequency. When you're vibrating at a certain frequency, if you've ever seen tuning forks together, tuning forks that have the same frequency, if you start one, you hit one against the table and it starts vibrating, this one that is not even touching it starts vibrating as well because they're at the same frequency. So you get full of that feeling first and you tap into that frequency from where you are using your what? Your imagination. You can go to that frequency just like you can turn the radio dial in your car. You can go to that frequency anytime you want, regardless of what's happening in your physical earthly experience at this moment in time. And then when you're at that frequency, guess what? Things start to move in your life on that same frequency. As long as you're tapped into it long enough, then that frequency becomes your identity. And then your experience starts to match that vibration. Are y'all with me? Are y'all with me? It's totally backwards. It seems like, Julian, you talking some silly stuff. Nah, man, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I know. And if you don't believe it, what do we say here, y'all? What does scripture say? If you don't believe it, what do we know? Scripture says, it is done unto you as you believe. I can't convince you of anything. I can give you the facts of my life. I can go pull videos of successful people who have said the same thing, and you see the fruits of their tree. But guess what? It is done unto you as you believe. You believe there's no good men out there? It's done unto you as you believe. This is what the universe says. You believe that making money is hard? It's done unto you as you believe. You believe that racism will always be here and try to keep a knee on your neck in your life? It is done unto you as you believe. You believe today is going to be a bad day? It is done unto you as you believe. You believe you're going to be lonely? It's done unto you as you believe. I'm sharing with you what I believe and what I know. I'm actually beyond belief, y'all. I'm beyond belief. I know this. I know this because I've been able to replicate success over and over and over again. So this is fact for me. This is fact for me. And if you believe, mustard seed belief, right? It may become fact for you at some point in time as well. This is why we are here, okay? So I want to give you the 3 steps to receiving, because anything that we're imagining is an experience that we want to receive, right? And we know that many of us that are here, we're actually great givers. And many of us are actually over givers, and we need to change that habit, because then we end up depleted and burned out. And the skill set that we need to develop is actually our receiving function. Many of us are just not good receivers. We're great at giving gifts and supporting other people, but we're not great at receiving. And when you're not receiving, when your giving is greater than your receiving, what happens, y'all? When your giving is greater than receiving, what happens? You get frustrated, burned out, resentful. You have a deficit. You left empty. Okay? We want to give from our abundance. When our cup runneth over, we give from that place, from our overflow, not from our last drop. Okay? So here are the 3 steps to receiving. First step is to perceive. To perceive. I want you all to know this. I thought I had it here. I need to let you know. The suffix sieve. The suffix sieve means get. The suffix sieve, C-E-I-V-E, means get. Okay? So first, we have to perceive, which means we get it in our awareness. We have to become aware of that which we want, that it is possible. Okay? We have to become aware of it. Otherwise, we end up choosing from a limited menu, which I'll explain in just a second. Okay? So we have to perceive it first. We have to get it in our awareness that that is even possible for us. Oh, I could do that? Oh, I'll give you an example. For a long time, actually, no, it wasn't for me, but for most people, their perception is that they can only get paid by going to a job. They can only get paid bi-weekly. And the moment you actually meet somebody who gets paid daily, who gets paid hourly, and who gets paid when they're asleep, it actually changes your perception of what's possible. Okay? So your perception and what you can see is the first step to being able to receive that which you want. Okay? Step number 2 is to conceive. Conceive, right? When we're talking about pregnancy, getting impregnated with the idea, is to get it in the heaven of your mind. This is the soil. Okay? We want to conceive. Now that we perceive all that is possible, because all things are possible, right? Then we choose from that menu and we conceive, meaning that we are actually saying, I want that, and I'm putting it into the heaven of my mind. Then the third step is to receive, which means to get it materially on earth as it is in heaven. Heaven is not up in the sky somewhere with some clouds and some golden gates and things of that nature. Get that idea out of your head. Heaven is the possibilities that are happening here. Some people are having a hellish experience of this life, and some people are having a heavenly experience of this life. The kingdom of heaven is here and now. Jesus said this. Like, how do we overlook that? Let the dead bury the dead. Heaven is not somewhere after you die. It is right here and right now. Being present in this moment and enjoying the experience that you are having of life right now. This is heaven. What did Bob Marley say? Some preachers tell me heaven is under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. If you know what life is worth, you will look for yours on earth. And can you feel the light? Hey, stand up for your right, yeah. Heaven is right here and right now, y'all. So we perceive, meaning that we get it in our awareness. Then we conceive, meaning that we get it in the heaven of our mind. And then we receive, which means that we get it materially on earth and as it is in heaven. In between that, you must believe, which means that in believe, when you look at the etymology of the word, means to hold dearly. You hold it dearly in your being. You have to hold it. Once you conceive it, you have to hold it. You just don't conceive it, stick it onto a vision board and then just let it go. You have to continue to believe it in order for you to ultimately receive it, right? So Mark 11:24 says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours, okay? This is why belief is important to the equation. And Jesus talks about belief over and over and over again. Now, once you believed and actually received, then you no longer have to believe. Now you do what? You know. And once you know, then you can replicate that same process over and over and over in the other areas of your life, or expand the one that you were believing for. Okay? Luke 4:9 says, the devil led him to Jerusalem and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down from here. Oh my goodness. This is when the devil was tempting Jesus, y'all. And where did he tell him to go, y'all? What does the scripture say? Go to the highest point of the temple. You think he's talking about a physical building? When you look at the metaphysical reading of this, are we talking about going to the highest point of a building, y'all? Are we talking about going to the highest point of a building? No. This is saying, I'm taking you to the highest level of consciousness possible so that you are aware and perceive all that is available to you. I'm not talking about going to the top of a building. Your body is the temple. This is about talking and going to the highest point, which is Christ consciousness, because Jesus was one of the first to get there, okay, to ever reach that level, Mike Jordan of the game. We're talking about going to the highest point of consciousness, not to the point of a temple, of a physical temple, a church somewhere. No, you got to be able to read to get the goodness and the richness and the juices out of the Bible. You got to be able to read it from a metaphysical standpoint. Okay, so I just told you it was perceive, conceive, and then receive. Here's what comes if you're not careful, is you get deceived. And the prefix D means to take, right? It means to take away. So you get deceived. Deceived means to take away what was meant, you were meant to get, because sieve means to get, okay? So D means to take away, sieve means to get. So when you get deceived, right, it means to take away what you were meant to get by your divine birthright. Okay? It means to take away what you were meant to get by your divine birthright. Abundance is our birthright. It is all available to us when we are in alignment with the will. I've said this before. If I'm a millionaire, is my daughter a millionaire? If I'm a millionaire, is my daughter a millionaire? Yes. Okay? As long as she is in my will and it doesn't go to probate court, right, and get dispersed amongst all kinds of lawyers and people, she will inherit everything that is mine. It is all hers, whether she knows it or not. So there's two reasons why she doesn't have it yet. And there's two reasons why you don't have it yet. Anybody know what those two reasons are? One, you're not ready to receive it. You don't know how to handle it. She's 5 years old. She doesn't know how to handle the real estate portfolio or my businesses or anything like that. She doesn't know, okay? So she's not ready to receive it. And then two, she's out of alignment. She's out of alignment with her father's will, okay? So as long as we are in alignment with the will and we get in a position of readiness to receive, then the storehouse is open to us all. Okay? So when we talk about the highest point in the temple, I went and got some pictures of the Empire State Building. This is why we have to elevate in consciousness. It changes our perception or what we perceive. This is what you see at the ground floor of the Empire State Building. You don't see too much. There's a Starbucks down there on the ground floor. And you can see, what is that, 7th Avenue, I think? Okay. But then when we elevate in consciousness up to the 79th floor, then you get to the top floor or the observation deck, the watchtower, which you'll find that language in the Bible over and over. Okay. Look what you can see. Your perception of what's actually possible and what's available and what's before you is greater the higher your consciousness is. If you are only seeing life from the ground level, or some of you are in the basement, some of you are having a hellish experience of life, which means that you're actually on a negative floor. You are actually seeing life from the basement, okay? And it's hot down there. The boiler is down there. But as you elevate in consciousness, you see what is possible. So when Jesus was taken up to the highest point in the temple, he was seeing from the top of the Empire State Building all that was possible, all of God's creation from that highest point. So this is why we have to elevate in consciousness. Now, many of us are having an unlimited experience of life, okay, because we have a limited perception of life. It has nothing to do with what life has to offer. It's our actual perception of life. How many of you been to In-N-Out Burger? How many been to In-N-Out Burger? Okay. Now, when you go to In-N-Out Burger, they have a very simple menu. It's a double burger, cheeseburger, hamburger, fries, shake, drink, etc. Right? 1, 2, 3. Don't have no crazy menu laid out like McDonald's, right? With all kinds of options. Now, how many of you know about the hidden menu at In-N-Out Burger? How many know about the hidden menu at In-N-Out Burger? I dare you to go to In-N-Out Burger next time and ask for your fries animal style. Go ask for your fries or your burger animal style. Some of you like, what? I've been to In-N-Out Burger. What do you mean animal style? I don't see animal style on that menu. Well, guess what? In-N-Out has an entire menu that you can't perceive because all you were focused on was the limited menu that they presented you with. So here you are choosing from a limited menu when there's actually a larger menu using all the same ingredients that are there that they will readily accept. Go walk up to the register and say, I would like my fries animal style. The person on the other side, the cashier, won't even blink. They'll go boop, 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 boop. They won't even blink because it was there available to you, but you weren't aware of it. You weren't aware of it. The same thing occurs in life, y'all. Many of us are choosing, and our imagination is only pulling from a limited menu of options like a multiple choice test. But the reality is that there's an option on the multiple choice test called E, which is other. And on other, you can plug in whatever in heaven you want. We don't say whatever the hell you want. We don't talk about hell here. Whatever in heaven you want, you can plug in whatever you want there in E. You don't have to choose from A, B, C, and D. Some of us move through life with just, I gotta be a teacher, doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? I gotta do this, or this. I gotta go to this school, this school, this school, this school. I gotta marry this kind of person, or this kind of person. I gotta do this, and this. And we're literally just choosing from a multiple choice test when the number of possibilities and ways of living this life are actually infinite. And if you elevated your consciousness up to the 79th floor, you could see that there's many ways to do this. There's an infinite number of ways to do this. And in fact, if you're doing it like somebody else, then you're probably doing it wrong. If you're doing it like somebody else, then you're probably doing it wrong because you are a unique being. You aren't meant to do it like somebody else. You're not meant to have an idol. You could go learn from somebody else for a second, right? But it should never be to follow their footsteps. It should be to take it further than they took it. All right? So let me share with you what possibility looks like. Many people are choosing their life and their imagination only extends to their options. Well, my options are what I know is available to me and that I can access right now. Oh, I know I can be this as a career. Oh, I know I can have this kind of person as my partner. We limit ourselves to our options. Oh, I know I can probably get that kind of guy. I know I can probably get that kind of girl. I know I can probably get that kind of job. These are my options. I'm gonna just choose from my options. But we don't want to just choose from options. We want to expand that to what's possible. Okay, possible is what we know is available to us, but we don't believe we can access. So, man, my daughter this morning, she said, oh, I want to be an astronaut. Okay. She knows it's possible, but she's like, do I want to do all the math? Do I want to do the math that I'm going to need to know in order to get there? Okay. I know it's possible, but do I believe that I can really access that? Do I have enough belief in myself? Okay. And then beyond what's possible is actually infinite possibility. An infinite possibility is all that is truly available to us that we can't even conceive, therefore we cannot access. So whatever menu you're choosing your life from, I want you to know that there's a menu that's 100 times, 1,000 times greater than that. And I want you to explore that first, then go through the process of elimination. Don't look at A, B, C, and D and be like, that's it for me. And so I'm going to eliminate that one, eliminate that one, eliminate that one. And you doing the process of elimination from a limited menu. No, let's expand the possibilities with our imagination first, because there's no limits on this imagination. You can travel around the world tonight if you want to with your imagination without ever going to an airport. So since there's no limits here, let's expand. Let's elevate our consciousness, go to the 79th floor. Let's look out, go to the top of the highest point in the temple. Let's look out at what's actually possible for my life, right? And then let's go through the process of elimination from there. That's how we get to more of who we are and what we truly want, right? Now, you probably heard this term, premeditated murder. Premeditated murder. This cartoon is funny. It says, I will kill him. I will kill him. I will kill him. Okay? Premeditated murder. This person, most murders are premeditated. And what do? What do I do in my daily practice? I meditate. So guess what, y'all? Most of your life is actually premeditated. Most of the life you're experiencing is premeditated. That last relationship you had was premeditated. That argument you got in with your boss at work, that was premeditated. That traffic jam, that was premeditated. Now, are there media influences based on you not governing what's actually coming into your life that help inform those meditations? Yeah, that's what the programming is for. You keep your eyes focused on what they want you to focus on instead of you focusing on within. Now, here we have an example of premeditated murder, but what if we could just use that idea of premeditation for anything that we want? We premeditate anything that we want, not just a negative thing. What about premeditated love? What about premeditated wealth? Premeditated career? Premeditated best-selling book? Premeditated success? Premeditated health? Premeditated home? Premeditated new car? Premeditated physical recovery? How about we premeditate on positive things as opposed to negative things? When we premeditate on negative things, you know what they call that in the Bible? And Jesus lashes out at this over and over and over again. When you are premeditating on something negative, what is it called? This is a W word. It's a W word. It is worry. Worry is premeditated negativity. Worry is premeditated negativity. I'm inviting you to have premeditated positivity in your life. Okay? So, how many of y'all had a deja vu experience before? How many of y'all had a deja vu experience before? Okay? What we're going to do right now is we're going to tap into the divine power of deliberate deja vu. Because deja vu is framed as a phenomenon, right? It happens every now and again. Deja vu is the feeling that one has lived through the present situation before. Okay? The phrase translates literally as already seen. Although some interpret deja vu in a paranormal context, mainstream scientific approaches reject that explanation of deja vu as precognition or prophecy. Rather, they explain it as the feeling. What is our word for today? You get full of the what? The feeling. Rather, they explain it as the feeling that one has lived through the present situation before. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The feeling that one has already lived through the present situation before. We need to be deliberate creators by deliberately having deja vu. Remember, everything manifests twice. Manifests first in the heaven of your mind, then it manifests on earth. So we need to be premeditating that which we want in this life deliberately. Not just deja vu happening. Oh, yeah, I had deja vu like last year one time, this happened. No, we want to deliberately have deja vu. Okay? Oh, here's where Steve is. I was supposed to be up here. Steve, where is that supposed to be? Right here. So Steve from earlier, it means to get, okay? So back to this. Y'all hearing me on deja vu? Y'all hearing me on deja vu? We want to deliberately have deja vu. We don't want it to just be a phenomenon in our life that happens by luck or by chance. We want to deliberately have deja vu by premeditating on positivity, all right? So let me tell you where I learned visioning. I learned visioning when I was about 11 years old. I was playing baseball at the time, and my baseball coach said to me, we had an all-star tournament in Fremont, and I live in Oakland. And we were riding to Fremont, about a 45-minute drive. His son was in the front seat, I was in the back seat, and he had read this book by Tony Gwynn, The Art of Hitting. And Tony Gwynn was a switch hitter, and he was he had the 18th best batting average in baseball history. The 18th best batting average in baseball history, all right? And so he wrote this book, and our coach had read it, and he said, we're gonna try something different. Instead of listening to music during this ride, we're going to do some visioning, because he had read about it in the book. For those of you on Instagram, it's going to end in just a second. I'm going to restart it. Okay. Let me restart this for them real quick. Let me start this for them real quick, y'all. Y'all enjoying this teaching, this preaching? Cool. Good. Sorry, I'm going long, y'all. I don't need to say sorry. I am going long. I got a lot to share. All right. Cool. So what we did on that ride, instead of listening to music, which was KMEL jams at that time, for those of you, any Bay Area folk out here? Any folk from the Bay Area in here in the building today? I'm in the building and I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. Y'all know who that is. Y'all know about that. Anybody got 5 on it in here? All right. I see you, Marcia. All right. So y'all know 580. Y'all know Fremont. Y'all know we in here. Okay. Frenchie. What's up, Frenchie? Oh, Bay Area in the building. I see y'all. Okay. So we riding to Fremont on 880. We on 880 going to Fremont. And instead of listening to KML jams, he said, I'm gonna turn off the radio and y'all gonna do some visioning. All right. 880 South. Yep. What's up, Rashad? And so he said, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to get in the batter's box and I want you to visualize yourself getting hits in every gap in the infield and every gap in the outfield. We're like, okay, whatever. We just accepted it. And so here I am visualizing myself, right, in the batter's box, the pitcher pitching, me in my uniform, right? And I'm visualizing myself getting hit down the third base line, okay? Visualize myself getting hit between the third baseman and the shortstop. Visualizing myself hitting the line drive right up the middle. Visualizing myself getting a hard ground ball through between the second baseman and the first baseman. Visualizing myself hitting the outside pitch down the first baseline. Visualizing myself hitting in every gap in the outfield, right? And I did that for this 45-minute drive, right? So here's the power of that. And typically you see this in, what do they call it? First player perspective, like video games, right? And so what happened was during that baseball tournament, I was actually the 9th batter. I wasn't the best hitter, but I was a great fielder, and that's what got me on the team because I could field down a ball in center field. What happened in that tournament is that I hit 800, okay? Let me just go back to Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn, 18th best batting average ever, and he hit 338. That's how they label it in baseball. If you batting over 300 in baseball, you're doing pretty good, okay? In that baseball tournament, I hit 800, meaning that out of every 10 at bats, I got 8 hits. That's absolutely absurd, even for T-ball. That's absurd for T-ball, y'all, okay? So this was really powerful for me, and it was really good for us. We didn't end up winning the tournament, but this was a really powerful demonstration for me, and it was due to visualization. I was rehearsing in the heaven of my mind what was actually going to occur 2 hours later in the actual game. So when that pitch came, I had already practiced that pitch because I had already visualized it in my mind. This was just me. I basically practiced in my mind. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Okay, so this is actually where I learned visualization. It was actually in the context of sports. You saw Michael Jordan shoot that free throw with his eyes closed. Okay, not only was it mechanics because he just shot that many free throws, but you could see he paused for a second, he visualized it, and it went in. Okay, this is the power of the mind when it comes to manifesting the reality that we desire. You'll see some game-winning shots in the NBA, some game-winning shots that Kobe and LeBron have taken. They look just like game-winning shots that Michael Jordan had taken. Literally, leg up, fading, same spot on the court, etc. Why? Because Kobe and LeBron watched film of Michael Jordan do that shot over and over again, actually physically rehearsed it, mentally rehearsed it by watching the film, probably physically rehearsed it in the actual in their actual practice facilities. So then when that moment occurred or came up in a game, it was already played out 100 times in their mind and through their body. All right. So Genesis 13:14 through 17 says, after Lot had departed, the Lord said to Abraham, now lift up your eyes from the place where you are and look to the north and the south and the east and the west. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, and so that if one of you count the dust of the earth, then your offspring could be counted. Get up and walk around the land through its length and width, for I will give it to you. Okay? So what is this really saying? This is really saying that Abram at this time, Abram was supposed to visualize his descendants in this land before he actually inherited it. Before it was actually given by God, Abram was being commanded to go in it and experience it and visualize it here and now, right? How many of y'all have driven through the rich neighborhoods, right? How many of you have driven through the rich neighborhoods and actually, thank you, Abraham and his ascendants, because we are ascendants. How many of you have driven through the rich neighborhood? How many of you have been bold enough to actually drive in a rich neighborhood and pull into the driveway? Not to reverse around on the cul-de-sac. Not to reverse on the cul-de-sac. I'm talking about literally just like pulling into the driveway like it was your driveway. Michelle said, no, not the driveway. Next time you go in, I need you to pull into that driveway like it is your driveway, like you live there. Okay? Gwen said, I gone into the house. Yep, go to those open houses. Don't look at the price point, because when you see the price point is going to evoke what for many people? The price point will actually evoke fear, and all this worry, fear, and doubt comes in when you see the price point. So don't look at the price point. Just go to the open house as if it is your house. Walk up to your bedroom like you know where it's at. Leave the toilet seat up after you use the bathroom if you got to, fellas. If that's what you do at your apartment right now, go do it there. Like, I need you to walk in there like it's yours. I need you to go experience it as if it's yours. This is practicing. This is the mental rehearsal. All right? So, yes, you got to own it. All right? So, let me get into this. I want to wrap up because I know we're going long. I'm going to skip this part on time. We addressed it a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to skip this part on time. I'll probably treat it again at another time. No pun intended. All right? So, no, I'll cover it a little bit. So, we already covered this a little bit. We said we already know that it's here and now, okay? The only place and time that exists is here and now, always. That will always be the right answer. Now, if I had all of you meditate for 60 seconds, right? If I had all of you meditate for 60 seconds and say, open your eyes at 60 seconds, will we all open our eyes at the same time? If I had you all meditate on something you wanted for 60 seconds, will we all open our eyes at the same time? No, we wouldn't. Because we all have different perceptions of what a minute is. We all have different perceptions of what a minute is. If this is really healing for somebody right now, they might get lost in their thoughts and it may feel like 3 minutes. For somebody who has something to do right after this, they're gonna feel rushed. You know what I'm saying? So this idea of time is something that we created. God does not operate on time, right? God operates on a different, you can't even call it a timeline, right? Can't even call it a timeline. So 1 Corinthians 15, 51 to 53 says, listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not sleep, but we will all be changed in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. For the perishable must be clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality. In the twinkling of an eye, what you desire can manifest in your life. The more you believe, the less weeds of fear, doubt, and worry that exist, the quicker something can manifest. But when you truly believe something, you don't believe it based on a timeline. You don't say, God, I'm only going to believe this for 5 days. And if it don't happen in 5 days, I'm not going to believe it anymore. God, I'm only going to hold this belief for 1 year. If you truly believe something, you believe sight unseen until your grave, until this flesh is no longer with us. You believe. And when you have that kind of belief, what you'll notice is that the things that you truly believe in, they manifest faster than you desire. So I'm going to reframe this. The longer you commit to believing in what you want, the faster it comes. In the twinkling of an eye, in some cases. But if you are trying to establish an agreement with God, oh, I'm only going to believe this for 6 months. And if my company don't take off in 6 months, I'm out. I don't believe no more. Then you likely won't manifest that which you say you believe in. When you believe something, you will believe it until the day you transition. Okay? So, as you know, I always like to bring heaven down to earth. And so we're going to do a quick exercise, all right? I don't want this to just be some spiritual high and then you go off and whatnot. No, we want to bring heaven down to earth. We want to make it real, all right? So what I need everybody to do is go get a piece of paper real quick or your phone. If you're on Instagram, I know you won't be able to use your phone, okay? And what we're going to do, we're bringing heaven down to earth. This is our quick exercise to anchor this teaching. I need you to write down 5 things that you want. 5 things that you want. It could be a thing, it could be a person or a type of relationship. It could be a home. It could be some changes in your body. It could be forgiveness from somebody. Just write down 5 things that you want. Write down 5 things that you want. Just real quick. Don't overthink it. Okay. Could be more money, new car, right? Now, whatever you wrote down, new laptop, whatever you wrote down, there may be some blockages that immediately occur. I want $1 million, but that's going to take forever, or I don't make that much money, this and that. We're not worried about that right now, okay? We're not worried about that right now. The next thing I need you to do is I need you to write down the feeling behind the thing that you want. So when somebody says they want $1 million, what are they saying they really want? What feeling are they really seeking when they say, I want $1 million? What feeling? Freedom, security for some. Debt-free is not really a feeling. Security, freedom, those are typically the 2. Ease, comfort, good, okay? So for everything that you wrote, I want you to write down the feeling behind it. When somebody says, I want a new car, what are they really saying? What feeling are they really looking for when they say, I want a new car? Reliability, great. Convenience, I want safety. Beautiful. Consistency, right? Somebody says, I want a new partner. What are they saying I really want? Maybe they want a new partner. What are they saying they really want? What's the feeling they're looking for? I want happiness. I want love. I want companionship. Okay, good, good. Somebody says, I want a healthier body. I want to lose 20 pounds. What are they saying they really want? want good health. I want energy. I want to feel beautiful. I want well-being, right? Good, good, good. You're getting it. So here's the thing about all of those feelings, y'all. Your homework for this week is to answer this question for every one of those feelings. How can I access this feeling now, here and now, even if just a little bit? How can I access this feeling now, even if it's just a little bit? So if we're talking about abundance, since this is financial church, you want $1 million. The real feeling is freedom and security. What is something that you can do right here and right now that can get you in a state of abundance? This is the trick, y'all, because we want the full feeling first. The full feeling comes before the fulfillment. If I want $1 million, but the true thing that I want is freedom and security, that's the feeling. What's something I can do? How can I access that feeling now, not wait until I get $1 million in my bank account, even if just a little bit? Yes, I can. Where's my gratitude journal? I can use my gratitude journal. I can start tapping into everything and documenting and writing down all the things that I have to be grateful for right here and right now. Cost me nothing. Cost me nothing to take 2 minutes to document everything that I'm grateful for, all the good that is happening in my life. What else can I do? I can walk into the dessert shop and I can go get my favorite dessert without looking at the price on the menu. I'm just gonna swipe my card. I'm not even gonna look at the receipt. I'm not looking at the price. I'm just gonna walk in there. I'm just gonna get my favorite dessert without thinking about the price. I'm not saying go shopping for clothes or nothing like that where you're gonna come out with $300 plus, but I'm just saying go walk in to eatery and go eat what you want without even looking at the price. Just say, I want that today. I want that today. I'm not looking at the price and saying, oh no, I should probably do this one because it's under $10. Just go walk into the place. Don't look at the price, cover it up with your arm and just order what you want. Because that's what you would do if you had $1 million. Okay? You can give money away. You want to feel abundant? Go give. Go give. $5, $1, $10, go give. You want to feel abundant? Go give. Because that's what somebody who had $1 million and felt free would do. They would give. So there are things you can do right now to access that feeling. And the more you access that feeling, the more frequently you access that feeling, the more that feeling becomes your frequency. And the more that feeling becomes your frequency, the more frequently you'll get the experience that you desire. Okay? So we're going to close out with our affirmation for the day. And this is what I wrote for you. All right? And I want you to read it with me. And it is, I am here and now. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. I am here and now. I can, will, and must get the full feeling here and now, for the kingdom of heaven is in my midst. The more I frequent the feelings I desire from where I am, the more it becomes my frequency and gets me to where I want to be. When I am fulfilled in advance, my primary source, God, will fulfill my desires faster than Amazon Prime. The emotion precedes God's motion. Therefore, through prayer, I go to the top of my mental temple and use my imagination to envision my future, deliberately creating deja vu. As above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. Ashe, amen, and so it is. I'll read it again for you. I am here and now. I can, will, and must get the full feeling here and now, for the kingdom of heaven is in my midst. The more I frequent the feelings I desire from where I am, the more it becomes my frequency and gets me to where I want to be. When I am fulfilled in advance, my primary source, God, will fulfill my desires faster than Amazon Prime. The emotion precedes God's motion. Therefore, through prayer, I go to the top of my mental temple and use my imagination to envision my future, deliberately creating deja vu. As above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. Ashe, amen, and so it is. All right. So with that, we want to wrap up with our giving. For those of you who are new, I did not make that connection to giving to introduce this segment. We give differently here. This is not for a building fund. It's not for my private jet. I receive nothing from the financial church. I have enough abundance in my life. This is actually the space in my life where I give 100% freely and I ask for nothing in this space. I ask for absolutely nothing in this space. The way we give here is we take a collection and we give the resource, the economic resource that we collect, back out to the community immediately. This is how we think giving should occur in traditional churches, but it doesn't. But rather than push against somebody who's not doing something the way we desire, what do? We just create what we want. Isn't that what we learned today, y'all? I'm not just going to sit here and be mad that churches don't give the way that we desire to give. All I'm going to do is channel all my energy to give the way I desire to give. Isn't that easier for everybody? Let them do what they do and you do what you do. So how we give here is, I'll share with you. We've raised $2,119. And the way we give, we believe that giving is a spiritual practice, especially when it comes to creating wealth and abundance in your life. We receive contributions from everybody who's here. We are more focused on participation, more so than the amount that you give. We just want everybody to be in the habit of giving, period. Whether it's $1, whether it's $5, we've had people give over $150. Okay, that's been our greatest gift to date. Okay, it's not about the quantity. It's about you being in the spirit of giving, right? Because as you give, so shall you receive. The first thing we do is we ask if there's anybody who's here right now in the moment who actually is open to receive. We believe that receiving is a skill set, and as givers, many of us are not as gifted as receiving, and this is opportunity for anybody who has a car note, electrical bill that needs to be paid, anything that is urgent, cell phone bill that is blocking them from actually experiencing abundance in their life. We actually contribute economic resource to them right now. All money is stored energy and it's useless until it's used. If there's no individuals who need support in the community right here and right now, then we choose nonprofits to give to, and we give about $600 away per week. The Zelle and the Venmo and the PayPal are there, and I always want to do this every single week. I want to show you the accounting. We have 100% integrity here, and so I'm going to show you the accounting. Faith Fund. Switch to this tab. I'm going to show you the accounting for this week. So let me stop this real quick. If you are on Instagram and you're joining us, you can Cash App Julian Gordon or Venmo Julian Gordon to give. No persuasion here whatsoever. That's not how we operate. Only if your heart feels moved to give. Again, we do believe that giving is a spiritual practice, and all the money is given back out to somebody in need right now so that they can get into flow. Together, we've since April 12th, we've collected $7,021, and we've given $4,902 out. Last week, we gave to three organizations. We gave to for the horticulture, M2B, and then Color of Hope. We gave $200 to each of those organizations. Our current balance is exactly $2,118.87. I see contributions coming in now. I want to say thank you for that in advance. What you'll notice is that as we give together, our account continues to expand, and it never depletes. It never depletes. Originally, our giving was only $300 a week, and I actually had to increase the giving amount. We had to increase the giving amount because we were receiving so much. And so I thank you in advance for all the contributions. They will be multiplied. We will send that money out. I typically send out the donations on Monday. Okay. So is there anybody here right now who is in need, who has a specific need that they would like to receive support on in the community? Is there any individual? Here, we do not operate in shame. You do not have to tell us any shame story of why you are where you are. All you have to do is answer the question of how much exactly do you need, down to the penny. We don't say, oh, I just need $300. No. Will you need a bill? Like, I need $287.89 for my water bill. And all we need to know is what you learned today and how you will be a better steward of money going forward. That is it. We don't care about the past. That is the old you. You are here today. You have new wealth consciousness injected into you. And so we know that the new you is going to make new decisions. And so all you can do is plant new seeds from here. We do not play in the shame story. So is there anybody here who needs support at this moment in time? We had an amazing success story the other day. We had an amazing success story the other day. Somebody thought they were in need, stepped into this space and said, I need help with, I think it was a water bill. And after just opening up to receiving from us, before she sent her Cash App, she wrote us a beautiful email saying, Julian, I realize that I'm not in lack, that I have more than enough. I have everything that I need. And my husband and I decided that we are going to work this out, and we would like you to give the resource to someone else. This, what did we say? In the twinkling of an eye. That's how quickly consciousness can shift. Their lives will be forever changed because they realize that they're not in lack anymore, right? So, yes, the Cash App, Venmo, PayPal is there. Is there anybody who's in need at this moment in time? Anybody in need at this moment in time? Okay. With that, I'm going to take 3 nonprofit recommendations. 3 nonprofit recommendations. I'll go ahead and type them in, and I will do the first 3, and I'll get that money out this week. I'm going to do 200 to each. They will come from PayPal, and they will be sent out. Today is the 12th. They will be sent out on 7/13. Okay. Frenchie, nominate my nonprofit scholarship, Smart Talented Leaders. Scholars Program, started this program 2019. We're awarding our first scholarship. Frenchie, we know that you are here every single week, and we would be honored to support you in providing a scholarship. Frenchie, please. Your contributions do not get posted. I have to go do this manually. Your contributions don't get automatically posted to this spreadsheet, y'all. I don't have that kind of technology yet. All right. So if you're like, oh, I just sent money and it's not showing up, that's not how it works, y'all. Okay. All right. All right. I need websites, y'all, because I need websites. Thank you. I got Frenchie's website now. I need websites, y'all. Frenchie is www.stlscholars.org. I need websites. I need 2 more websites, and then we'll close out for today. Gideon's Army United.org, and then knowyourrightscamp.com. All right. So those will be our 3 organizations this week. And then we'll do this one. We'll put this in the Rolodex for next week, fame.org. That won't be in the Rolodex for next week. This has been absolute blessing. I was so excited to share and do this teaching with you. Yeah, I hope you, in fact, just let me know in chat, what was your greatest takeaway? What moved you the most? Where'd Zoom go? What moved you the most today? Oh, please put the donate up once more. Let me share my screen. It's Julian Gordon. It's just my name at Cash App or Venmo. All right. So I'm going to read these takeaways and we'll call it a day. Okay. Elevating in consciousness, right? Going to the top of my temple, intentional or deliberate deja vu. I can imagine a nation, the homework assignment, visioning, energy management, put your energy into creation, not resistance. Connecting with the feeling of the things I want that I can manifest from infinite possibilities. I'm excited about nation building. 3 steps to receiving. Beautiful. Changing my thought process, developing an abundant mindset, The longer I commit to believing in what I want, I believe it will. I will believe it will. It will happen. That seed means to get. Um, moving to the observation deck. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, all of these recordings are at thefinancialchurch.com, thefinancialchurch.com. They are there for you to view, share them. If it moves you and you believe it will shift and elevate somebody else's wealth consciousness from poverty consciousness, then please share them. It's been a pleasure to serve you. Please pray for me in terms of the divine download for next week. I don't have it in the pipeline yet, so I would love your prayers so that I can be used to show up for you all next Sunday. I wish you all a great day. For those of you who are in the multifamily movement, I will be talking to you in a few hours for our weekly deal room call. And besides that, have a great, great night, everybody, and wish you wealth. Peace, y'all.